Hello everyone, it's the Lego Brit here, and today I'm going to be talking about the evolution of the Lego Star Wars Microfighter 8080. So just like in all my other evolution of videos, I'm going to be talking about how the design of a specific Lego model, in this case the Microfighter 8080, has evolved through the years. So you can see here, I have the two models that Lego has produced, one in a single set and one in a Microfighter dual pack. But before we get into the evolution of parts, let's go over some basic set information. This right here is the first ever Lego Star Wars Microfighter 8080 to be released, and it released in 2015. The set number is 75075. It included 88 pieces, had one minifigure being the 8080 pilot, and retailed for £9 or $10. The latest edition of the Lego Star Wars 8080 Microfighter wasn't actually released on its own. It was part of a dual pack, which also included this Tauntaun here. The set number was 75298. It released in 2021, had 205 pieces, two minifigures being that Hoth Luke and the 8080 pilot, and retailed for £18 or $20. Just before we get into the evolution of the vehicle themselves, I think it would be helpful to take a look at how the figures evolved, because the same minifigure actually came in both editions of the 8080. Now that we have the old and the new minifigures together, in my opinion, you can definitely see that this one has evolved for the better. The leg printing particularly stands out to me because this is a lot more detailed than this one. The torso may have had some mild changes, you can turn that around, and I think the back printing has also advanced a little bit and become a little more accurate. The helmet looks much better, well-rounded. However, there is one change that Lego just should not have done, and this stud shooter here. Why couldn't they just stick with this pistol? The pistol is so much more accurate. I don't know why they felt the need to put on this hairdryer stud shooter, but still, the figure definitely evolved for the better. The final thing to note about the evolution of these minifigures is that the head has changed to become a lot less generic from that angry clone face, which was pretty much used for everything. Clones, droids, stormtroopers. Not droids, I'm just joking. But still, you can see here we have the angry clone face and this one right here, and I think this one is a lot less generic and obviously evolved for the better. With the minifigures now out of the way, let's get into showing off these builds. First thing that I notice about these two builds showing how they evolved when you look at them head on is that this one definitely has a much cleaner design. I really love the use of cheese slopes, and this just looks so blocky. I don't know why they use those different layers there. Obviously for the time in 2015 it was pretty good, but here this is so much better, and I'm definitely glad Lego fixed up that design of the head. Another major thing that for me shows how these definitely evolved for the better in the end in 2021 is getting rid of those horrible flick fire missiles. I mean, when you turn this around, this is completely inaccurate. It just looks like this giant blocky thing is on the side of the 8080 that just shouldn't be there. When you take a look at this one, it is much slicker with those slopes, and this here just looks absolutely awful. I'm glad Lego got rid of these. It's not even the greatest play feature ever. I just think they didn't deserve to be there, and thank goodness Lego got rid of them. The basic design of both of these 8080 Microfighter cockpits has actually remained pretty similar from 2015 to 2021, and that is quite interesting. I suppose here we have had a few minor advancements, being that control panel and a much sleeker look overall, which this one here just doesn't have. One thing that I do find that it potentially could have evolved for the worst in is this one had studs which stop the minifigure falling out, but this one the minifigure constantly falls out, and I will show you that when I put the minifigures in just a second. One thing that I literally just noticed about the heads of these two 8080s when I was filming the video is that right here are just exposed studs, while this one is rounded off a lot better. Now obviously that curved piece is very inaccurate, so I can understand why Lego got rid of it. However, I think Lego should have still just made the effort to tile it off. It only takes one piece and it would have looked so much better. In my opinion, that could have evolved for the worst in that way, which is quite rare, but still I thought it's worth mentioning. So I have put the 8080 pilots in their cockpits, and we're going to see which one stays, because I think that this one is actually a much flawed design than this one, because this one stays down and this guy falls out. One thing that's also interesting to note is that this here has a much higher point than this one here. I'm not sure whether that evolved for better or worse, probably just a decision that Lego made. Whether they even realised it, I don't know, but that's quite interesting having these two side by side. So let's see which one has the sturdier cockpit. Okay then, it is time for the ultimate test of strength for both of these cockpits, and the age rating that Lego's given to at least the most recent one is age 6+. So I'm going to pretend that I'm a 6-year-old playing around with these 8080s and see which minifigure falls out first, and therefore whether it evolved for the better or worse. This is going to be quite fun. So first of all, let's do the walking test. I'm wandering along trying to attack some snow speeders. Okay, so none of them fall out. Those legs have kind of fallen down. I'm going to talk about the legs in just a second. But yeah, now let's move along this one. Okay, so they both withstand test number 1. This is where the fun begins. Test number 2. I'm going to pretend that I'm a 6-year-old and I'm just playing around. I have no idea that these are ground vehicles. I'm just going to swish it around like any 6-year-old would. I probably would have done at age 6 and see what happens. So, meow, meow, meow. Okay, that is definitely not coming out. That is not coming out at all. So let's just see. Let's try again. See whether that was just a fluke. You can see that's really wobbly, and there it goes. So, the actual winner of the strongest cockpit has got to be, very surprisingly, the 2015 one. Now that I'm done pretending to be a 6-year-old, let's take a look at the back of these AT-ATs. There isn't actually that much to say about the backs. Obviously, this one has a much sleeker design, but this one has a clip where you can put your gun. So, probably both even. I would probably say that this evolved for the better, just because it's more accurate, but still, this had a pretty cool play feature. The final thing that I've got to note about the evolution of the AT-AT has got to be how the leg design has changed. One thing that I find very, very interesting, and I have no idea why they did it, is they actually switched up the colours here. This is actually darker and lighter, and this is darker and lighter in that way around, so I don't know why they did that. Now let's just show you the mechanism and how that's changed, or has it? Surprisingly, unlike pretty much everything else in these AT-AT Microfighters, the basic leg design hasn't really changed up at all. It still has that same Technic pin in and the similar design of those pieces. I suppose there has been a colour change. I have no idea why Lego did that, probably just for variation. But there is one major design change that is very, very interesting and shows how this 2021 AT-AT evolved for the better, and that is this. If you look very closely here, you can see that this piece is smaller than that one there, and right here it has these lower down and these are higher up. Why did Lego do this? Well, if I'm playing around with this AT-AT, try and push it down, it just goes in that downward dog position, which I suppose could be accurate to the Battle of Hoth. No, I'm just joking. That is a massive fault in the set. But here, try and push it down, try. I'm applying more pressure this time, and it's just going to widen those legs. Why is that? Because these are holding these in. It is a very interesting design that I only picked up on just now, and I think it definitely shows how this evolved for the better. Thank you very much for watching this evolution of the AT-AT video. I have done a few of the evolution of videos, and you can check those out on the playlist on the screen now. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share the channel with others. 2.5k subs mock contest. Remember about that. Have a great day. Goodbye.